Good morning and welcome to the morning news right here on TV3. We are coming to you from the John Hammond Street in Accra. We're also streaming live on Facebook at TV3 Ghana. My name is Safwa Boyne. The news bulletin starts now. Chief of Staff Julius Deborah revokes all public service appointments and recruitments made after December 7, 2024, saying they were not in compliance with good governance. Police on manhunt for thugs who disrupted Council of State elections in Kumasi. Also coming up this morning, Parliament summons Health Minister to update the House on recent outbreaks of cholera and meningitis in parts of the country. And on the international front, detained Ugandan opposition politician Kizza Besigye begins hunger strike as his time spent in detention awaiting trial nears 3 months. We have details of these and many more coming up shortly. Please do stay with us. Consistent with government pronouncements in relation to near end of tenure appointments and recruitments, I wish to bring to your attention that all appointments and recruitments made in the public services of Ghana after December 7, 2024 are not in compliance with established good governance practices and principles. Accordingly, all heads of government institutions are hereby requested to take the necessary steps to annul any such appointments or recruitments and submit a comprehensive report on the actions taken to this office by February 17, 2025. Your cooperation in this matter is highly appreciated. Written by Julius Deborah, who is the Chief of Staff. Letter dated February 10, 2025 and addressed to all heads of government institutions. Earlier, we spoke to Labour consultant Austin Game when the news first broke. Take a listen.
Our feeling that we have in various organizations. From what I know in the public and civil service, there's always a manpower ceiling. And you cannot, under any circumstances, not apply properly to the system to enable you to have authority to recruit. So recruitment is not just done because you are a president or because you are just a leader in any organization. It has to go through a process. Now, in this case, like in many other civilized institutions across the world, when you have election, you don't recruit immediately after the election the outgoing government, except that government is taking power from itself, like MPP taking over from MPP. Then recruitment in any form or shape, even that, it does not make economic sense. That's why you have manpower ceiling. You don't go over the manpower ceiling. If you do that, you create financial, imbalance in the system. Now, under the present circumstance, all the people who were recruited immediately after the election, what it means is that you are recruiting people who are supposed to be your favorite for the person who is coming to take office to work with them when he does not know anything about all that. It's not normally done in all countries. Like in America, when you are going, you go with all the people you came with.
Right.
And the new person recruits a new.
What I earlier read was the letter of appointment, revocation of appointment and recruitment after the December 7 general elections by the Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah. Moving away from that, President John Dramani Mahama says his commitment to his 120-day social contract remains unwavering as his first budget in March will deliver major expectations. Speaking at the maiden meeting of the Ministerial Task Force on the 120 days promises, President John Dramani Mahama has charged the ministers to work diligently as government will not relent on its promises.
As you're aware, as
part of our social contract with the people of Ghana, for which they gave us this massive mandate, we came with a 120-day plan that contains a list of some things we intend to achieve within the first 120 days. Of course, several of these things are sectoral, and so it was not possible to conduct this meeting before the ministers of the various sectors had been vetted and sworn in. And so now that you've been sworn in, of course, some background work has been taking place quietly. And now that you've been sworn in, this meeting is meant to focus sectorally on the things that fall within your sectors. And that's why you've been chosen, because many of those issues are within the sectors that you are ministers of, so that we can hone in and make sure that we achieve them on targets. Some are 90 days, some some were 14 days. Assemble a full cabinet within 14 days, we achieved that. And then some are within 90 days. Others necessarily must go with some things. For instance, the removal of some taxes and rationalization of taxes can only be in the budget, because you need to do revenue measures and put those tax instruments before Parliament. So all of you are supposed to focus on your sectors and work so that we achieve all the targets that we set ourselves in the 120-day plan. The Senior Presidential Advisor on Governmental Affairs is the chair and leading that effort. So you have to work closely with her so that we can make sure that we are faithful to the mandate that the people of Ghana gave us. And so that's the purpose for this meeting. I congratulate you again. And we'll now discuss the nitty-gritty and look at where we have reached. Some of the things like the National Economic Dialogue, the Planning Committee is working on. The Constitutional Review, we've set up the committee, and so that work is happening. The Minister of Education, who was amongst the earliest to be sworn in, has already moved quite fast with the issue of the National Educational Review. And so for those of you who were sworn in later, look into your sector ministries and the promises that we made, and then work as quickly as possible with the Senior Presidential Advisor on Governmental Affairs to be able to achieve those targets we've set ourselves.
We are totally empowered by the honor you have bestowed upon us and the confidence you have reposed in us. We know how seriously you take your promises to the people of Ghana. Each promise is birthed with deep thinking, painstaking calculation, and consideration of various permutations to ensure they are viable, doable, and sustainable. We know your word is your bond and will betide anyone who stands in the way of the performance of your promises to the people of Ghana. So therefore, we pledge to use our utmost endeavors to ensure that we perform on the mandates that you have given us. We will not fail you, we will not fail the people of Ghana, and God be our helper. Thank you.
Let's now bring you a recap of what ensued at the Council of State elections yesterday. And whilst other regions have successfully elected their Council of State member, the Ashanti region will have to wait another day. Thugs invaded the voting center at the Regional Coordinating Council to disrupt the counting process, destroying all the ballot papers.
It started as a peaceful process. 86 delegates queued to vote and elect one of the 12 candidates vying for the Council of State member in Ashanti region. By 11:30 a.m., voting had ended and sorting began. Just when the Electoral Commission was about to begin counting, a group of muscularly built men stormed the restricted area and destroyed the ballot papers. police appeared helpless, whilst the thugs beat up journalists who attempted filming the activities. Calm was later restored, but the EC could not continue with the counting process due to the distraction of the ballot papers.
If this simple exercise cannot be done, how do you expect us to sit down and to pretend and say that we also sit down for you to have your way and confirm your various presidential nominees for the various positions of the MMDCs? So they should come clear with us and let this thing not, we just want it to be so fair.
Perhaps a new date may have to be scheduled for the election of the Council of State member for the region, since there was no official counting and declaration. The Ghana Police Service has however launched a manhunt to arrest the perpetrators involved in the disruption process. The Kumasi Block of Parliament has also condemned the incident, describing it as an attack on Ghana's democratic process. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
Well, in the same development in the Greater Accra region, Stanley Niblo, our reporter, reports that the election of the regional representative was marred by a series of chaos.
By 7 a.m., officials of the Electoral Commission had set the Omanyaba Hall of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly ready for the voting process. However, delegates did not show up to vote. Some aspirants then began accusing their colleagues of camping and inducing members of the Electoral College. 4 hours later, delegates trickled in. Aspirants were granted opportunity to campaign.
I've seen it all. When it comes to bravery, when it comes to the guts, to say it the way it is, so that people will have justice, people will have comfort, people can live in peace in this country. I stand tall. I'm seeking for your mandate to vote for me so that I can come and continue with the good work that I've done in a different style.
I'm asking you to give me permission to represent you, serve you, and also to add quality voice to your voices.
Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ahmed Ibrahim, urged delegates to use the elections to forge peace among the Gadangbe states.
Greater Accra, we are going to set a very good example. There should be no noise. There should be no fight. This is people from Greater Accra casting a vote to elect one. There should be no fight about this.
Just as he ended his speech for voting to commence, chaos erupted. Police personnel detailed at the venue had restricted access to some observers and delegates who attempted to enter the auditorium. Another chaos ensued where the Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Akwele-Oklu, who had briefly stepped out of the auditorium, was caught up in the confusion. This time, the chaos intensified among the observers. Eventually, tempers were calmed. 3 of the aspirants withdrew from the race. 58 delegates selected from 29 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies voted. After sorting and counting, a third chaos erupted. This time, supporters of some of the aspirants tried to snatch and destroy the collated result sheets and ballot papers. Aspirants were quickly whisked away from the auditorium, but the reinforced police officers in the auditorium swiftly intervened, giving the chance for the returning officer to declare the results. His Royal Majesty Nene Drola Bosu Adamte won the bid to represent the region after he garnered 40 out of the 58 votes. Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ahmed Ibrahim, insists that the chaos that characterized the elections should not affect the unity of the region.
I've seen that there are many blocks in the Greater Accra region, and it's not good for Greater Accra regional development. Therefore, after this, no matter who has won, we still have to bring all the factions together. We have to put our parochial and selfish interests aside and look about the bigger picture of developing Greater Accra And that is the exercise that has taken place here.
Stanley Niblewu, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, let's take you to Parliament now, where the Minister for Health, Kwabena Minta Akando, has been given 1 week to brief the House on the outbreaks of meningitis and cholera. Members of Parliament on the floor raised concerns over the spate of deaths recorded and demanded an urgent action to save lives. Following a statement by the Minority Leader Alexander Penyomaken, the House summoned the Sector Minister to outline measures in curbing the emergency.
Members of Parliament lamented the deaths and the spate of public health emergencies caused by the outbreak of diseases, particularly cholera and meningitis in parts of the country. The Minority Leader and Member of Parliament for Ifutu, Alexander Penyomaken, delivered a statement on the floor of Parliament. He, together with other MPs, called for urgent action by the Health Minister to salvage the situation.
It's been reported that 412 cases of outbreak of cholera in the Ifutu municipality has taken 3 lives. The Speaker, currently we have the affected people in the Winneba Municipal Hospital, the Winneba Health Center, and the UEW Clinic. The central government must immediately intervene to save lives. The people are suffering.
MP for Garu, on his part, wants government to consider roping in meningitis treatment in the planned vaccine institute.
And once they've identified that this type of bacteria is not the usual one, I would recommend that we do a proper study about this and actually push to the development of the vaccine center, a vaccine manufacturing center. I know very well the previous government spent $25 million to enhance the capacity of local pharmaceutical companies in the production of vaccines for tuberculosis, COVID-19, and then the rest. I think we should now roll in meningitis.
In a response, the First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Bernard Ahiafo, directed the Health Minister, Kwabena Minta Akando, to brief the House on all development within the health sector with regards to disease outbreaks within 1 week.
I direct the Minister responsible for health to appear before the House within 1 week to brief the House on all the health issues raised on the floor.
Speaker, I so direct. I just contacted the minister. He's on the field in monitoring the situation, so he'll be here on the 18th if the House would.
I've taken all those things into consideration in asking that he should appear before us within 1 week.
1 week. Very well. We are guided.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hundreds of suspected cases of cholera and meningitis have been recorded in parts of the country, especially in the central and upper west regions. While the public is being urged to observe safety protocols, suggestions have also been made for government to consider free treatment of meningitis. Christian Yale, TV3 News, Accra.
Away from that, the Defense Minister, Dr. Edward Omane Boama, says the role of the Ghana Armed Forces has been limited to very essential activities and services when they are needed, based on timelines that would be advised. In a media engagement, Dr. Omane Boama reiterated that the police service should be able to provide adequate security if the situation at hand is not life-threatening. He said this would help stop the overexposure of the military.
How many times do we find a soldier holding a handcuff? That they are training, arrest is not really part of what they are supposed to be doing. If they are to arrest, they may even call it capture. Because of this background, they are not supposed to be the day-to-day human resource in the security service that we should be deploying at the least stress. And this is why, as an example, the Ghana Football Association should be reconsidering the suggestion that we should be having soldiers at stadia during Category A matches. It is overexposing the Ghana Armed Forces. We believe the Ghana Police Service has enough men and women, well trained, some of them with specialized training, to be able to maintain peace, law, and order.
Three people have been killed in Wulugu in the northeast region in an attack the police believe has links to the escalating Boko conflict. The deceased, all men, were passengers on the bus traveling from Kumasi in the Ashanti region to Garu in the Upper East region. According to police sources, the bus developed a fault, and as efforts were made to repair it, gunmen arrived on motorbikes and set it ablaze. The gunmen, the police added, then persuaded the passengers who ran in different directions and shot 3 dead on the spot. The other passengers who managed to escape were rescued and conveyed by security forces to Bolgatanga. The remains of the deceased were also transported to the Upper East Regional Hospital morgue, awaiting identification and autopsy. A joint police and military team has since restored calm and investigations underway. Let's take you to the international news now. Congo army ending lull in fighting, and the Rwandan-backed M23 rebels have attacked Congolese government forces in the South Kivu province, breaking a 2-day lull in fighting. Heavy shelling began on Tuesday morning, 3 days after the summit of East and Southern Africa leaders called for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire. The rebels have seized vast swaths of land in the eastern DR Congo, including the major city of Goma. They are now pushing towards Bukavu, the capital of South Kivu, another key city in the region. Around 2,900 people have been killed since early January as a result of the hostilities, the latest UN figures suggest. Approximately 700,000 others are estimated to have been forced from their homes and thousands more injured. That'll be all for the morning news this morning. Many thanks for joining us. My name is Safwa Bwahine. New Day continues right after this break. Do have a lovely day.
Welcome to Life, a fantasy drama that tells the story of Rain, a selfish lawyer who helps people who want to take advantage of the law. One day, he gets sucked into a similar world due to an unfortunate accident and begins to live a completely new life as an upright prosecutor and falls in love with Rashion, a detective. Will he be able to keep up with his new image, or will he slip back into his dubious ways? Find out in Welcome to Life, showing every Monday to Friday on TV3 at 4 p.m. An inspiring tale of love, hope, and perseverance. This is Faltu, which means useless. Being born into a feudal family in rural Dagestan means Faltu faces ill treatment and disrespect from everyone except her father and her cousin Pratap. Having been born a girl child, Faltu defies societal norms and fights against